Good morning, everybody. If you can hear me out there, please give me a little thumbs up, if you will. Thumbs up, good. All right, because we're trying something a little bit different this week with the sound system and everything. All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group. Oh, in fact, I think I should. Yeah, I started the recording. Okay. It's June 3rd, 2022. Our agenda this morning, we'll start out with success stories. We'll then hear, we'll have everybody put their 30-second introductions into the chat window. We'll then go to our committee reports, hear about workshop, job fairs, practice interview team, interview success workshop, and the career tip of the week. And then we'll have our main event, which today happens to be open forum. So we'll talk about whatever it is you'd like to talk about. For those people on Zoom, if you have any questions, please open up the chat window. You can do that. When we get started here, we'll open up discussion and we'll just let you unmute your mic, and we'd like to be able to see you if you would. And for those on Facebook, if you have any questions throughout the presentation, please just open up your, put any questions you have into the comment field. You're welcome to go ahead and start putting your contact information in the Zoom chat window if you'd like to. Please note this event is being recorded. It's currently live on Facebook. The recording will be on the Career DFW Facebook page and the Career USA YouTube channel for others to view in the future. By participating in this event, you give consent for your name and picture to appear. Please note that any comments you put in the Zoom chat window will not appear in the recording. Good morning, everybody. My name is Jeff Morris. Back in 2007, I took over this North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group, facilitating and leading it. The group's been around since the late 1990s. I took it over in 2007 when the prior leader got a job and said, who wanted to take over? I think I scratched my face and he said, okay, Jeff, you're it. So I've been doing that since. In 2008, I started a website called careerdfw.org, a website to help those who are unemployed in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. 2012, I launched careerusa.org to help those around the United States. I have written a book called What I've Learned About Your Job Search That You May Not Know. It is available on Amazon. Since 2017, I've been a member of the practice interview team, and you'll hear more about that in just a couple of moments. Well, we'd like to start the meeting off with good news. Do we have any landings, any successes? If we do, please, you're welcome to unmute your mic. Let us know about it. We'd love to hear about any good stories anybody has. Any landings? Going once, going twice? If you're not aware, today happens to be National Donut Day. If you go to Krispy Kreme, you can get yourself one free donut. I don't know about the other donut places, but I do know that Krispy Kreme is giving you a free donut today. All right, well, we'll move on here. See here. Okay, what we'd like everybody to do is, if you will, open up the chat window and put in your 30-second introductions. We'd like to know, put in your name, comma, phone number, comma, your email address, position you're looking for, and then 2 or 3 target companies, and then hit the return key. That way we can, I'll use this to update the roster. I'll get everybody's information put in. So if you will do that, that would be great. And any information, I use this to update the roster. You'll get a copy of the roster this afternoon. And hopefully, if you will, please look over what other people are, needing help with companies, because maybe you have a target company who can help them. Hit the return key, put all the information in. We'll give 30 seconds on the clock here to get started. Next time. All right, you're welcome to continue on. If you're putting that information in right now, please continue to do so. All right, it's time to hear about job and career fairs, training, and workshops that are going on. Good morning, Eldon.
Good morning, Jeff, and I thought I had my video on. Just 1 second here. There we go. Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. As Jeff said, my name is Eldon Zarinsky, and I'm going to present to you information this morning on career and job fairs and special workshops or events This information comes from the calendar tab of the website careerdfw.org, which is on the screen in front of you. The various colored boxes represent different types of activities going on in the DFW area in the upcoming weeks and months. I urge you to familiarize yourself with the calendar if you haven't already done so. There's a lot of information on there. I do go through these items fairly quickly, so if you hear something that catches your ear, I would urge you to go to that item, click on the box, and there you will find more information about what it is you're interested in. All right, having said that, career and job fairs for this week. The Arlington Career Fair, which is virtual, is hosted by National Career Fairs, will be held Tuesday, June 7th from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. And there is a link on the calendar for more information to find about that particular event. Again, that's Tuesday, June 7th from 10 to 6. The Career Development Workshop and FedEx Ground Hiring event will be held Tuesday, June 7th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Martin Luther King Community Center at 5565 Truman Drive in Fort Worth, Texas. And you can register now to attend the Career Development Workshop and jumpstart your summer job search now. And there's a link on the calendar that you can click on to pursue that event. There'll be a hiring event at North Interstate 35 in Denton on Wednesday, June 8th from 9 a.m. to noon. Employers are listed in the calendar that are going to be there. They include Brinker, Care Center, Conserva Integration, DFW, Equus, a list of about 20 different employers with various types of jobs. Again, that's Wednesday, June 8th from 9 a.m. to noon in Denton. And finally, the Dallas Career Fair, also virtual by National Career Fairs, will be held Thursday, June 9th from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. And there is a link in the calendar to find out more about that event. This week's special workshops or events: online LinkedIn Tuesdays at 1 p.m. Join Locke Alderson, Terry Sullivan, Ruth Lipsky, Kurt Vondemutter, or our own Jeff Morris each week for an online session on LinkedIn. Again, that's Tuesday, June 7th from 1 to 2:30 p.m. The upcoming speaker on June 7th will be Locke Alderson. There is a Facebook link and a Zoom link to participate in that event that you can find in the calendar. Also online, interviewing Wednesdays at 1 p.m., a new feature for this year. You can observe a practice interview from the practice interview team each Wednesday from 1 p.m. to 2:30 p.m. And this upcoming event is June 8th from 1 p.m. to 2:30 p.m. And there is a Zoom link to participate in that event. And if you haven't participated in the pit crew and had a practice interview, I strongly urge you to do so. You will learn a tremendous amount from going through that process. And finally, online, a networking webinar. Join Career DFW and careerusa.org on the second and fourth Thursdays from 1 p.m. to 2:15 p.m. Central for their networking seminar. They'll have different speakers each session talking about networking, and there's a Zoom link and a Facebook for that. Again, that's Thursday, June 9th from 1 p.m. to 2:15 p.m. And that's it for this week.
Thank you very, very much. All right. That's if you know somebody who's unemployed, somebody who's recently unemployed, somebody's unemployed for a long time, you just know somebody else who's unemployed, please be sure. Tell them about Career DFW and Career USA, two totally free websites. They don't collect any personal information. They're just there to help you land your next great opportunity. All right, it's time to hear about the practice interview team. Good morning, Mark. Well, Mark was there a second ago.
You snuck up on me.
Here we go.
Actually, I was just looking to see who's going to be in the practice interview next Wednesday. So if you guys haven't observed a practice interview, or if you'd like to observe another one, we're going to have another live practice interview next Wednesday. And it's for someone who's looking for a job at Amazon as part of their infrastructure. And maybe when we get to the discussion, I'll have a better title. I didn't quite find all the information I was looking for. So what is the pit crew about? The pit crew is all about shortening your job search. And we do that by helping you and giving you a chance to practice your interviewing skills. So when that all important, first interview and then the equally important second and third and fourth interview comes along, and the final round, you're going to be well prepared, confident, and ready to tell your story about why you're the best candidate for that position and why you can help them the most. So, and we do that by giving you, by an experiential training mock interview. So you get to participate in it. It's not a lecture. It's not reading about it. It's not thinking about it at your kitchen table the night before your interview. It's actually coming and doing it and answering the questions that 3 panelists are going to give you. And the panelists have all been hiring managers, and they've all been through job transition as well. As a matter of fact, most of them are currently in job transition. A few, like Walt and I, are retired, and Jeff's part of it as well. Jeff, I can't say Jeff's retired. He works really hard on all his volunteer activities. He gets paid a lot of zeros for that work. And here's how you set it up. If you're ready to practice, you just send me an email at dallaspitcrew@gmail.com. There it is, circled in red, and include your job description that you picked out and your resume. Now, if you, our motto is practice early and practice often. So if you're early in your job search, now is the time to practice and just pick out a job description that looks good to you. It might be very close to your dream job description, but send that in and come and practice and get the process started. So if someone calls you and wants to talk to you tomorrow, then you're ready to go, at least with one practice interview underneath you. But practice often means come and practice as often as you like. We don't mind. As a matter of fact, we encourage that, and each person is going to have a different journey and a different experience. So if you need a lot of work on your interviewing, then come and practice. And if you need a little work, just come and practice. It's all the same answer, come as many times as you'd like. We're used to that. We encourage it. Like I said, we're trying to shorten your job search. So whatever it takes in the realm of interviewing to shorten your job search, that's what we want to do. So send your information in when you're ready. And we have 3 slots during the week, Tuesday evenings, which are video. All of these are video now, but and when we transition the meeting face-to-face, then the Tuesday evenings will remain as video interviews. And then we have Wednesday afternoon, which is part of the interview webinar, Wednesday interview webinar series, and then Thursday afternoon at 3 o'clock. So those are the 3 slots available each week. And when you send me the email, if you have a preference, please include that. That would be great. Let's see, the next thing up is the one-way interview. The Pit Crew has a practice one-way interview. It's very short, it's 4 questions. I give you the questions in advance. My goal is to just get you used to, comfortable with using these one-way interview tools, because they are very awkward and strange. And again, like two-way interviews, you can do it as many times as you like. So if you practice a one-way interview and you don't feel like you did very good, do it again. It's almost totally automated, except to get it started, you need to send me an email and let me know you'd like to do it. And then after that, you get a link, and then you follow the link and you do what it says. And then when you're done, I send you a link on the video. Nobody will see that video but you. And if you want to do it over, just do it over. So that's the one-way interview. The next thing is my LinkedIn profile. So there it is. If you find me on LinkedIn, that's what it's going to look like. And search for my name, include the middle initial, or search for Pit Crew, and you'll find me. Just include a message that said we've met on North Dallas Career Focus Group. That's all I need to know, is that we met, that you're not trying to rope me into your multi-level marketing plan. So include a message when you request, and that, linking in with people that you meet is a good idea, because it expands your network on LinkedIn. It's not like Facebook or the other social media where you can get access to anybody in the network. And LinkedIn's thing is you can only access your connections and your connections, and it goes like 3 levels deep. But the bigger your network is, the more connections you have to search. So go ahead and join my network, and that'll help you find people who you can have informational interviews with. Okay, 2 more things. I think I also coach. One of the things that I offer personally is coaching on why did you leave your last job. And oftentimes people hear coaching and they think money, but no, everything the Pit Crew does is free. The interviews, the 2-way interviews, the 1-way interviews, and the coaching is all free, consistent with helping job seekers who may have cash flow challenges. So if you're going to struggle in any way, just even a little bit, with answering this question, why did you leave your last job, then let's have a phone conversation or a Zoom meeting, and we'll discuss it, and we'll come up with a storyboard essentially of how to answer that question based on your situation, and also how to answer any follow-up questions that might be generated by your situation. So if it's really complicated, then there's probably going to be some follow-ups, and you need to be prepared for that. And then finally, I need more volunteers in the pit crew. We've had several land in the last couple of months, and I've had like 5 land, and I've recruited 2. So I'm not doing very good in my recruiting. I need your help. So if you've been a hiring manager, doesn't matter what industry, then you are qualified to be an interviewer for the pit crew, and you will get a lot out of it. You'll learn a lot about your own interviewing experience. You'll get the satisfaction of helping people shorten their job search, connecting them with their cash flow. And so reach out to me if you're interested. Oh yeah, there's very little time commitment. I try to keep about 30 people on the roster, so each week I can get 9 or so to be free to participate. So very little time commitment. Let me know if you'd like to join the pit crew. Thanks.
Mark, thank you very, very much. All right, let's see here. Walt, good morning.
Well, good morning. I also love to help job skills, confidence, successful job. What is a successful job? Simply one says, I've done a really good job telling who I am, what I do, how I can help. The 3 things that our interviewers are wanting. I see a lot of I do resumes. I hear a lot of I do. But we want to also tell who we are. We want to
Jeff,
make sure.
his mic isn't working again.
Did you hear me at all?
You're cutting out. You're intermittent on my end.
Huh.
Well, we can figure that out. I'll see if I can do it maybe a little closer to the microphone. All right. Did you hear anything? Should I start over, or where should I go?
You've been cutting out since the beginning, so.
Yeah, you need to start. It seems like you're not coming through the microphone that you're holding. You're coming through another microphone somewhere else in the room. So you're like 10 feet away.
Put your mic back up and see.
Well, test the mic. How's that?
No?
I think what's happening is that the computer seems to be cutting off. The mic may be working, but it seems like when it detects other sound, the computer is switching speakers. Does that make sense?
It says that one is mic. It says that mic is muted.
Okay. Because you're coming through fine.
Is that any better?
Well, I could be coming fine because it's coming off my laptop. I'm right in front of my laptop, not from the speaker.
Is that any better?
Well, then what this is telling me is that we're not using the sound system here.
Well, Walt, can you sit in Jeff's chair for a minute and tell us your
Come
thing?
sit over here. The spotlight. Okay. Well, no, I think we're just using this.
Yeah, that's fine. There he is.
All right, how's that?
Oh,
Perfect.
very good.
Perfect.
Okay, Jeff, you have to delete this in the video recording. All right, Walt Glass here. Glad to be with you this morning. I love helping people with their skills and their confidence for a successful job interview. And what is the definition of that? In an interview, we're looking at what people are buying. They're buying who we are, what we do, and how we can help. This is something that I developed back in 2000 when I retired, semi-retired for about 15 months, because that's how long it took to find me the next job. But it's that which people are buying. So we want to have a culture fit. We want to have our activities, our background, our expertise in activities and doing things like project management, for example. And we also want to show how we can help them. What is the value of what we do? So I originated the interview success workshop in order to do this. This is a place where we can learn how to differentiate ourselves, plus also sell those 3 items that I just talked about. All you have to do to register is to go to my LinkedIn page and look up Walt Glass, and it'll tell you more about the workshop. You can send me an email or use your camera for the QR code that's on the screen. You start an email to say, I'd like to register, tell me how you learned about the workshop, and I'll get back to you with the dates that are available. Only do 1 or 2 people at a time. Now, what's the difference between the pit crew and the interview success workshop? The major difference is the workshop is not a formal interview. It's very informal. Only do 1 or 2 people at a time, currently doing it on Zoom. I'm always scheduled 9 to 11 o'clock Central online for these particular sessions, but I can do more if demand so requested. I'm glad to have you participate. You know, the difference also is that we want to emphasize learning while we go through this practice. And so it's about 50-50. You're going to be interviewed, you get a video, and it's about 50% learning. There's no need to be in the hot seat, no need to have anxiety, no need to have your life flash in front of your eyes, because we're going to have it learning without squirming. In interviews, are you dying? In preparation, are you sighing? Register for the workshop. I forgot.
Are we done?
Yeah, well, let me think. Okay, register for the workshop because you're not buying. It really is free. And I'm not lying. Better job next week.
All righty. Thank you, Walt. All right, it's time to hear the career tip of the week. Good morning, Rosina.
Good morning, Jeff. Good morning, everybody. The career tip of the week for
Are you
for
there?
this.
Are you there?
Oh,
I think she
I'm
was
off.
there.
I'm okay. Do you
She's
not hear
on the
me?
line right now.
I can hear her.
I can hear her.
I can hear.
All right.
I was like, I'm
let
unmuted.
me pop up the career tip of the week and we'll go over it.
Okay.
Negotiating a job offer works. You can find the career tip of the week on the Career DFW website and Career USA website. It's a new tip every week. Negotiating a job offer works. 85% of Americans who counteroffered were successful. Here's how to do it. When it comes to negotiating a job offer, if you don't ask, you won't receive. It turns out that many don't ask, according to a survey from Fidelity Investments. Some 58% of Americans accepted the initial offer at their current position without negotiations, the survey found. Yet negotiations work. According to Fidelity, 85% of Americans and 87% of professionals ages 25 to 35 who countered on salary and other compensation or benefits, or both pay and other compensation, got at least some of what they asked for. The survey conducted March 8th through 14th by Engine Insight polled 1,500 U.S. adults between 25 and 70 who currently work either full or part-time. People feel like they can't or should negotiate, but companies expect you to negotiate. They respect good negotiators, she said. They respect you if you advocate for yourself. They want someone with confidence to be on their side of the table. Confidence is key. Therefore, do your homework. Research compensation for your job. Also, it's out of the way so I can totally see it. There we go. Confidence is key. Therefore, do your homework. Research compensation for your job, the field, and your location. Also, ask other people about their salaries or what they know about pay for the job. If you understand what you can ask for, if you're doing a good job, show your value. It would help increase the confidence you have going into any salary negotiations. Before you counteroffer, identify what you want. It may be a higher paycheck, it may be a bonus, benefits, title, or scope of the job. When focusing on salary, remember that even if the salary is in line with the market data, you can still sell specific skill set or experiences as a reason for a higher rate. If higher pay isn't in the cards, you can also negotiate for these non-salary items. Here. Really look at the entirety of the offer and don't just be so quick to say that whoever gets the most money wins. Also think about what's going on at the company. For example, do they need you to start right away? If so, that may be worth additional pay or bonus to start earlier. If possible, negotiate with the person who will be making the ultimate decision. If you can't, try to do your best to develop a rapport with the individual you're speaking with, such as the recruiter, so they can get a good steward of your case. How you approach the employer with a counteroffer also matters. Be clear that you're excited to work for the company and highlight the skills and values you bring to the table. The way you engage in the conversation is just as important as the points you're making. At the end of the day, it never hurts to ask. If the answer is no, it doesn't mean the job offer will be rescinded. Plus, you can also revisit the topic down the road. No just means not now. It's not forever. So that's the career tip of the week. You can see it on the Career DFW and Career USA websites. There's a new tip every Saturday afternoon. You're welcome to check it out there. All right, today for lunch, today at 12 o'clock, if you'd like to join us for lunch, we'll go to Mama's Pizza. It's at 2130 West Parker Road, Plano, Texas. It's on Parker, about a half block west of Custer. It's on the southwest corner of Parker and Custer. If you know where there's a gas station and oil change place right next door. So please come join us, Mama's Pizza, 12 o'clock today. They've got great, it's a pizza buffet, pasta, big salad bar, and the hit is the hot cinnamon rolls. Just a reminder, the careerdfw.org and the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group are two different organizations. Careerdfw.org is a website I started back in 2008. It's a nonprofit organization. The North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group is a bunch of people who get together on Friday mornings on Zoom and hopefully back in person as more of you will start coming to join us in person. And the only common thread between the two is that I happen to lead both. At any time, you're welcome to overthrow me and take over the Friday group, but you're not going to get Career DFW out of my hands. So this is not the Friday group of Career DFW. It just happens that I happen to be running both organizations. All right, well, today we're going to have open forum. We'll get started here in just a moment with that. But I want to talk about our upcoming sessions. Next week, there'll be a surprise. I've been trying to line things up. I had one speaker, but he canceled, so I'm still working on lining up somebody else for next Friday. On the 17th, stress less, live more while on the job search track. So that'll be our topic. Our speaker is PJ Dunn. A lot of you know PJ from his talks on Strength Finders. And so PJ will be with us to talk about stress less, live more while on the job search track. All right, it's time for open forum. So we're going to open it up to everybody. Let me stop sharing here. We'd really like to, if you can, please open up your windows. Rosanna just said you could hear me. Oh, I was not able to hear you. Sorry, Rosanna, I was not able to hear you. So I don't know if maybe I've got something turned off here.
No worries. I'm always here every Friday.
Speaker. Oh, let me try. Somebody out there can unmute your mic and please talk. Let's see if we can hear you now.
It's Rosina. Can you hear me?
Now I can hear you. Okay. Well, I don't know I do know what happened. I'm trying to figure out what's going on with the sound system here. How come I couldn't get the microphones to feed into the mic system? So, all right. Sorry about that.
No worries.
I thought I saw you there. I just couldn't hear anything. So, all right. So it's open forum. We'll talk about whatever it is you'd like to talk about. somebody want to give us a topic and we'll get started? Mike, please. Well, or you can unmute your mic there and see. Well, give it a shot and see what happens. I don't know. By the way, there's 3 people here in person. Mike is here with us in person. Chris Stark is with us. And, yep, so Mike, go ahead.
So my topic is I am getting inundated with LinkedIn connection requests from all over the world, all over the United States. What are the new guidelines as to how to manage that whole process? Any suggestions? Because in general, I get a lot of requests from New York City because of my accounting and finance background, but I get them from California. Now, all these recruiters have realized they can use LinkedIn and they don't have to be in Dallas to try to place people. So it's quite maddening on trying to decide who to let in, because they've also learned, most of them, to write a personal note instead of just connecting a lot of them. So, that rule went out the window. I still use it, but so many people write personal notes now, that's not the only deciding factor for me. So looking for input on how to manage the business process.
Anybody have any suggestions, comments?
When it comes to other profiles, I will readily accept people who are kind of in the same field as me. So I do contract negotiation, network management, network development, database contract. But I think someone with a similar background as me, that I want to connect, because they might know opportunities that are in a different field. So I kind of keep it as recruiter or in my field that I'll accept. If someone that's completely not in my field, I usually don't accept. And then if it's someone local, like in Dallas, Texas, I might accept as well. If it's someone from like New York or Florida, unless there's a really strong correlation from what I do to what they are in, I usually don't accept.
So a follow-up is, if I allowed all the recruiters who request connecting with me, I'd have 500 recruiters. And I don't want 500 recruiters in my LinkedIn database. So that's the next level question for me is, how do you decide on, recruiters I know, I don't have a problem with, but ones I don't know.
A lot of requests, fortunate, but I think it was in that special thing.
Oh,
You do IT, or what's your specialty?
I'm a CPA.
CPA, okay. So none of the recruiters specialize in like sectors, so you could always try to reach out to them and ask them.
Well, most of them are in my arena. There's just so many of them.
So why would you hesitate not to want to connect with these people?
So in the past, I've had, especially if they're in your local area, a lot of them have the same jobs they're working on. And so you start running into multiple recruiters that are trying to place the same job approaching you, and you don't know who's presented you. And
because they're all contingency recruiters, they're not
Yeah.
necessarily,
yeah,
right.
and you don't want to upset the ones that you've worked with in the past that you like and trust. So that becomes a little bit of a dilemma.
Anybody else have any suggestions? Anyone?
So
Michael, this is Rosina.
Even if it was 400 or
Can you hear me?
500, you're down to 200. I mean, that's still 200 recruiters are helping you find a job. So I think it's not a bad thing.
Well, that's the process I'm asking about, how to wean the number. Don't just accept every request from a recruiter. And it's not just recruiters. You know, I'm going to ask Jeff. Jeff, I know you must get inundated with LinkedIn requests. If I'm getting as many as I am, what rules have you adjusted? Because your rule used to be if you send me a note or I've met you somewhere, but I'm sure you're getting more than I am requests to connect.
Yeah, I mean, I'll connect with, if somebody sends me a personal note, I'll usually connect with them unless they're trying to sell me something, which I'm starting to get a lot more people wanting to sell me some kind of service or something. So they obviously don't get what exactly I do. So, you know, they're just randomly sending out stuff. So, but, you know, I'll usually look at their profile, and if it goes, okay, they look like they're a job seeker or whatever, I'll go and connect with them. Or if they're in the recruiting field, I'll go ahead and connect with them. I mean, I would also think a lot of people may try to connect with you because they want to get to your connections, be able to see who else you're connected to.
Right. So, I mean, I noticed that 6 to 9 months ago, the numbers started just going crazy. I mean, I probably get 10 connection requests a day.
That's a lot more. Yeah, I don't get 10. I don't get 10 a day. Rosanna says, why don't you just work with the recruiters that you've got rapport with and create an Excel spreadsheet and track the rest for the future?
Yeah, I actually do that.
Okay.
I focus on the ones that I have connections with, and I don't let people in from New York City or, you know, I try to stay local, mainly because I don't want to move. If I wanted to move anywhere in the country, I'd open it up for sure. But
Right.
I've seen some recruiters for out of state, they're filling jobs in Dallas as well. So because they're in Dallas, necessarily means
Just off the top of my head, since you already have a process for giving some locality with your selection, do the old survey. You just turn it around and survey them. So you've got 5 or 6 questions. You put it in a message. Say, you know, who are you? Who do you work for? What, you know, just some things where you don't have to go do a lot of research and work and figuring out which ones to connect. What companies do they represent? What kind of area of specialty they have. So you get 5 or 6 questions, put it in a message that appreciate your request for connection. Can you give me some information? Ask these 5 or 6 questions and shoot it off to them and see what happens. That's just off the top of my head.
well, actually, that's what I do, especially for out of town.
Maybe you should keep that.
Especially for out. Well, I'm just trying to find out.
You got some great ideas.
Yeah, I mean, this has only happened in the last 6 to 9 months to me, anyhow, where the numbers have shot up. So I'm just trying to survey the field to see what other people are doing, you know. But that is definitely one of the things I do. If I look at their profile and I don't immediately eliminate them because they sent me a nice note, that's what I'll do. I'll send 3 or 4 questions. It's amazing how few of them get back to you.
Right.
And so then I don't add them.
So this is kind of my work.
Right.
All right. What else? What else any other comments or suggestions from anybody out there? I know the audio is sort of weird. We're sort of just experimenting to figure out how this is going to work. But yeah, we've got to figure out how to get these mics to work in here.
Gary, I see you out there. Surely you have a question.
Well, I was going to comment about your situation. Unfortunately, I'll just be blunt. I think you're going to either have to play the system and do it on a one-to-one basis and decide, or because of all the LinkedIn stuff I've attended over the many years, nothing that I've heard fits your particular situation positively. It's just taking a lot of time for you to go through them and decide, you know, whether you want to proceed or not.
Are you seeing an uptick in the number of requests to connect from all over the place?
Yes.
I particularly don't like the fact that a lot of salespeople are using LinkedIn now to approach. I think I wish they would keep the sales folks out of the LinkedIn network.
So I have Gary, can you hear me now? Good. Oh, you can hear me now. All right. So I'm thinking now we're working with the sound system. We're working with the mic. So if that's true, my question is, the reason, salespeople are using it because this is a great sales tool, just as we're trying to find people that are unemployed or trying to find people to, to get hired, to network in. I mean, LinkedIn has a whole sales navigator package that you can buy just for salespeople.
Right.
So I don't think that that's really uncommon on what's going on here. So I'm going to pass the mic over to you all. Mike, you can probably mute your mic now. If y'all want to sort of get together, actually may be a little better. That way we can see everybody on the screen here.
Come on over.
Okay.
All right, so I have a question. How many are generic requests versus personal requests? Percentage wise?
Boy, it's getting close to 50-50, if not
Okay,
more generic requests.
so could you just weed out the generics?
Oh yeah, that's what I do. I mean, if somebody doesn't send me a personal note, if somebody doesn't send me a personal note, Jeff's been using that rule forever, and I hesitated and would look them up and all that. I don't do that anymore. I get so many requests. If you didn't send me a note, or I'll reply if there's an option to reply, I'll reply and ask, why do you want to connect with me? And I'll bet you maybe 1 out of 10 ever responds to that request. So
I'm 50-50 also. Whether they're personal or just stabbing the deal, because I'm starting to get more and more lately international requests all over the world.
Yeah, the LinkedIn numbers are up to like 830 or 840 million people are currently on LinkedIn globally. So
it's only going to get worse.
it's only going to get worse. Yes, that is correct.
I mean, you're going to spend so much time gleaning through your connection requests that.
Right. I mean, I think you have to qualify, if somebody sends you a request, you need to look at their profile. Is there a reason to connect with this person? Does
Right.
this person offer me some reason that I should connect? And I think that's just something you're going to have to just look at each individual case and make that decision.
I would suggest limiting your time. So only do this 30 minutes a day, 45 minutes a day, get off, do the other things that are going to help you get the job, networking, making connections, etc. And on that side. So just limit it, because you can't handle them all. Put up your way of doing it. Say, this is the process I'm going to use that I'm using. Stop after X amount of minutes.
All right. Do we have something else, suggestion or comment? Somebody else like to talk about something else? What do you have out there? Scott, Scott's your scans are up. Lily, I saw you had raised your hand for a second.
Yeah, actually, you kind of covered what I was trying to say. That some of them are recruiters just entering the industry and they're just trying to widen their network. And that becomes evident when they make it very vague. If they have a specific position and they send you a link to it or have the entire job description, then it might make sense to follow through, but otherwise it's very obvious. So actually LinkedIn's made it quite easy. They have it pre-filled, the no thanks and the yes interested. And a couple of times I received a message from LinkedIn saying that they are something like removing my visibility for recruiters or something because I didn't respond to a recruiter's email. So I make sure I respond to each one, even if it's no thanks. But if you're getting 500 of them, because I don't know how to deal with that. That's way too much. You can't send that many replies.
Yeah, it's not 500 a week. It's like over a long period of time.
Maybe because you never did respond to any of them. So they've accumulated, I guess.
Well, you know what? You've brought up an interesting question because at one point I was aware that part of your evaluation in LinkedIn, if I'm not mistaken, is have you responded to recruiter requests?
Okay.
So if you ignore a large number of them, does that create a negative algorithm result for you?
Well, I think on LinkedIn, we've been told that when you're using LinkedIn, that you want to be active. And if you get a response, if somebody reaches out to you, you want to reply, even if you just say, thank you very much, but I'm not interested. That just tells LinkedIn that you're more likely to respond and that you are active. So I think it's real important that you continue to, even if you get something you're not interested in, let people know, thank you very much, but I'm not interested. Just don't hit ignore, ignore, ignore.
Ah, good. Can you always reply? Because ones that send me a personal note, I have the option to reply. But if they just sent the generic
Well, if they just send a generic request, I just don't do anything with them. I just let them sit.
ignore,
I don't hit the ignore button unless they're trying to sell me something.
oh, okay.
So if they're trying to sell me something and I don't want it, I will hit ignore. And if I'm really in a good mood, I'll hit, I don't know this person, which gets them a big negative point. But I don't do that very often.
So you have a long list of people waiting to hear from you.
Eventually they drop off.
Oh,
I mean, I know my list has been as high as 80 or 90 people who send me a
Okay.
generic request. And I think last time I looked, it was in the 40s. So I think they just sort of eventually fall off after a certain period.
good to know.
Okay. All right. What else can we answer for somebody?
It looks like a panel.
There's a panel. Well, yeah. If
We're
there
the
more peop-
experts.
If we had more people here, we'd have more behind you and then we'd have it a little mixed up here.
I have a question, Jeff.
Yes, go ahead.
I got a question about a resume gap. And just to give you a quick background, my last professional job, I left September 2019. And I've said it before, I was like a pioneer in the Great Resignation. It's just like, ugh. So I left, and it was kind of not good, but at the time, from 2019, well, October 2019 to October 2021, 2 years, ended up being elder care. And then when that was done, I got really sick, my arthritis and with the pandemic, and I ended up, having to have a couple surgeries. I got new titanium hips, all that. It was just a long, dragged out thing. But as of October last year, I'm back to normal. All the issues are resolved. And that's kind of where my resume ends. The last thing, at the top of my resume, I just got October 2019 to October 2021, elder care issues, personal issues, all resolved. And that's where it ends. And that's like 8 months ago now. So I wonder if that's like a bad thing now. I just, from October 21 to now, I've gotten some, I've had a couple interviews and I came close since then, but nothing's worked out. So I just wonder if that gap there.
So you're talking about what do you do in the last 8 months? That's what
Yeah, exactly. Is that like a, all I've really been doing is, looking for new opportunities, had a couple interviews, didn't work out, and also just kind of catching up on projects around the house and all the stuff that I couldn't get done in the 2 years I was tied up with the medical issues and elder care.
Right. Well, you can't put projects around the house on your resume.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
Yeah.
So, I would try to focus on either you can list volunteering, things that you've done to volunteer, things you've done to help in the community. If you've taken any continuing education classes, any classes you've taken on like the Goodwill Community Foundation or some of the other sites that you can get free training on. What have you done to show that you're still staying active and current in your position? I think that's.
Yeah, I've just been doing like, on, I think it was LinkedIn Learning, just kind of, brushing up, Excel and, all the different systems. Been learning German, doing stuff like that. I mean, I've been keeping active, but I don't think it's anything they're interested in.
Well, I mean, so then you could, in the last 8 months, you could have something that says continuing education, and you could list some of the courses that you've taken or some of the items that you've taken that are pertinent to what it is you do. So,
Okay.
I don't know if the German would be pertinent, but if you've, updated certain skills, you list 2 or 3 of those, and that would just show that, you're just currently taking continuing education classes right now.
So you do think I should put something in to fill that gap in?
I don't know. What
Yes.
does somebody else think?
Yeah, I for sure you want to show that you were doing something. That's why I would suggest you do go do some volunteer work. But I'll give you an example out of my own life. I mean, been looking for a while, and I'm on the backside of the age mountain, so that I'm sure is an issue. But what I did was look for a bridge job. Go do something that gets you out and earning money and being around people. It doesn't really matter what it is. For myself, I went to the Plano Independent School District and became a substitute teacher. I wandered around for a month at different schools. I worked every day. Pay wasn't great, but then they were pulling a teacher out of the classroom, and they offered me a long-term position as a sub, which basically means your pay goes to very close to what the teachers make. So I found that to be very rewarding, to the extent that as a matter of fact, this is my first meeting in like 6 months because school ended last Friday. I enjoyed it. And in the fall, if I haven't located an opportunity, I'll go back. And I already have some great references. They had a job fair early this week, and I had people coming to me saying, are you going to be around? Because we want your name's on our list for the start of school next year. So do something, have a job somewhere. For me, just getting out of the house and doing something productive didn't have to be. If you can find something that's more aligned in your field of expertise that you're going to want to go look for a full-time job at, icing on the cake. But if you keep waiting for the perfect scenario or worry too much about how much you're making, you'll never get up out of the chair and go do it. So just get up, go do it. I mean, I wish I had done the sub-teaching thing at the beginning of the fall semester last year.
If you're looking for volunteer opportunities, there's a website called justserve.org, and it has local volunteer opportunities. You can kind of pick and choose. Some you do from your house, some you do at the actual site. And just there's a lot of ones that are out there. I mean, the Salvation Army has things every week. I live in Louisville, so that's always going.
Right.
2 or 3
Okay, I'll
times.
check that out. That's good. That's kind of what some of my friends have been telling me. You just need to get out and start doing something. And okay.
Right. Somebody you put in the chat window, just try getting a contract or bridge job, just to get something back onto your resume. Keep looking for regular employment, but to see what you can find, short term, just something else you can do.
Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Good luck.
I like Mike's answer, but I honestly, I loved Jeff's answer even more so, that just you need to put things that show that you've been productive in some respects during that down period.
Yeah, because every interview you go on, they're going to ask, so what have you been doing the last several months? And if you don't have anything listed, if you have that gap on your resume, it's, they're really going to sort of question, well, what is it that you've been doing? So, put something on there, let people know what's going on, continuing education, just whatever the issue is, put something down.
Okay,
Yeah, if you can't find a bridge job in this market, there's a help wanted sign in about every window of every store in town. So there's stuff out there. And let me also say that if anybody wants to know about how to do the sub-teaching thing in Plano ISD, feel free to get in touch with me.
And I'm sure most school districts around the country would be looking for, especially you've got great experience and great knowledge. And Mike, how hard was it to learn what it was you had to teach?
Well, they don't worry too much. When you're just a regular sub, they don't worry too much about your ability to teach a specific subject. Usually the lesson plan for the teacher, it's not going to be there, is available to you. And they give you most of them give you pretty good instructions on how to handle the class. So much of what they do now is on their computer, and the teacher can line all that stuff up for the kids to work on. So once in a while it gets a little boring, but it's all up to the substitute how much involvement they want to have. Some of the subs go there and just sit up front and babysit. Unlike myself and some other substitutes that I've gotten to know who were engineers, there's all kind of professional people doing the substitute teaching thing. They don't want to fully retire and they want to make a contribution. And I met one engineer who's been subbing for 12 years. He was a big dog at TI and got to a point where he felt financially secure, and he does the sub teaching more to be active and contribute to the kids' learning than any cash issues. He actually went and got certified as a teacher and taught for a year and went back to subbing, because when you sub, you can decide what days you work. And which is pretty nice, which, one of the things that went away when I took the long-term gig, I became, basically a teacher showing up every day. But the list of openings in just the Plano ISD, they have a board that you go to that you pick your things you're interested in. There's 50 to 100 openings almost, anytime you go look at the board. They're not all for tomorrow. They go out through the whole school year, but it wasn't hard for me to find an assignment every day of the week. So I enjoyed it. I like kids. I like giving back. My dad was a career teacher, so I was around it a lot. So for me, it was a no-brainer. So if you don't have anything else to do, you end up making about the same that you'd make working at Home Depot or something as a regular sub. If you get the long-term sub gig, you make more than double your compensation. So, which gets you not too far below what the teachers actually make. So it was a great experience for me.
All right, what else can we answer for somebody? Yeah, hold on, question here. Yeah, go ahead.
So my question is, during the weekday, we're reaching out to people in our network. Obviously they're working. Sometimes they don't have a lot of time to talk. What's the best thing to hone in on? Like if you have, let's say 15 or 20 minutes, if you know the people, to talk with someone that you've worked with in the past, or that, you obviously don't want to waste their time. You want to just see how they're doing, see how the family's doing, but then basically get into asking the right questions. What are the right questions for that 15 or 20 minutes you have?
Comments from anybody? Suggestions? Every time I go click on that, it's gonna happen every time I click.
Every time we talk, it's going.
Yeah, it's gonna pop up like that. They get a little error message on the screen up here that they won't unmute their mics.
They can't see.
Comments from anybody?
I've got a general question,
Okay.
especially for like you and Walt, possibly Michael. Do you find the influence of recruiters more important, less important, or about the same as they've been for a while?
All right, let's,
I'm talking more than just the internal recruiters.
Gary, let's get back to that. Mike, go
Start again.
say your question.
Okay,
again.
sure. My question is when you're reaching out to your network, you usually start with people that are most relevant to your field and that have a similar background, or maybe geographically they're in Dallas, Texas, or so forth. When you're reaching out, you don't want to waste a lot of their time because they're typically working during the day. If you call for 15 or 20 minutes, what are the things you want to focus in on? Maybe, 1 or 2 or 3 minutes talking about how them and their family are doing. But then after that, what do you hone in on as far as like, without having to come out and saying, hey, I'm looking for work. Do you have a job? Or have you heard of any job openings? And maybe it's best to be that blunt about it, but is there a better way to kind of try to find out from them what job opportunities they're aware of? Or
So you're talking about when you're reaching out to your contacts.
reach out to your contacts? Yes.
Contacts. All right. Well, my recommendation would be for that kind of thing, you've got to be real careful when you just call somebody up and just want to reach out to talk about that. What my recommendation would be is something called, some people call it a prayer letter. I just call it, I don't know, this is just an email that I think you're better off putting out every 3 weeks. So every 3 weeks you put out an email, and in the very first paragraph, I want to thank the following people for their help over the last couple of weeks, and list 3 or 4 people. Now you send this out blind to all of your contacts, so they don't know who else helped. And even if nobody helped, you just pick out a few names. If somebody did help, you can list their names. The second paragraph is just as a reminder, I'm looking for a position at XYZ, as a project manager or whatever the position is, or I'm looking for contacts and information at the following 3 companies, and you list 3 companies that you're interested in. Then the last paragraph is if there's anything I can do to help you, please feel free to reach out to me. Now, you may not get any comments the first week you do this. You may not even get it the second or 3 weeks later when you send out the second email. But when you start to repeat this every 3 weeks, your contacts will go, and anybody who's in sales knows that sometimes it takes 4 to 7 touches before people are going to start responding to what you're talking about. But if you start sending this out, people then will start replying back. I know somebody who did this. They did it on Sunday morning every 3 weeks. And usually within a half hour or 45 minutes, they got an email back from somebody. Oh yeah, I know somebody at that company, or yeah, I'd like to talk with you about that. And then that's when you can have those personal conversations and be able to really discuss what it is that you're talking about. How's the family for a minute or 2, and then you can get into whatever else you do it. Some people recommend you want to send out 2 different emails. Maybe one email goes to friends, family, and maybe your church members or whatever. The other email goes out strictly to professional contacts. And because that way you may want to word it a little bit different. It's always good to, hope everybody had a good Memorial Day. Start out with something like that. Hope you had a safe and happy Memorial Day. I want to thank the following people. Just as a reminder, this is what I'm looking for. If you know anybody who works with the following companies, and what can I do to help you? So I think that's more effective than sometimes just picking up. If you don't really know the people, just to reach out and pick up the phone. I think sometimes that can be a little bit easier, easier to do.
Okay.
Especially if you haven't been staying in touch with them.
Got talking to Mike when you say that.
I would say, especially when you haven't kept in regular contact with people. I don't even touch the, do you have any know of any job openings topic the first time I call. It's more the personal reconnect. Let them know, hey, I'm in transition, looking for opportunities, and leave it at that. And you can put them on your follow-up call list to maybe go back or add them to this email thing that you send out. So, because if they only hear from you when you need something, it doesn't register well, I don't think, a lot of times.
Thank you.
And I wouldn't recommend saying, well, do you know of any open jobs? I think, you're trying to find out. you need to let them know, I'm looking for contacts at one of these following companies. Do you know somebody who works at any one of these 3 companies? I think that's more effective. People, like I said, I've been doing this since 2007, and I've seen people in this room since that date. They'll come in and say, I'm looking for, something in the North Dallas area. That doesn't help me because I don't know, you've got to be more specific. Tell me 3 company names. I maybe will be able to go look those up and go, oh yeah, I've got a contact at one of those companies. Much more effective. All right, if there's something else we can answer for somebody.
How about Gary's question?
Oh yeah, Gary, give us your question again.
Not talking about so much an internal recruiter, but is the influence of recruiters in your estimation over the last 5 to 8 years becoming more significant, about the same, or less significant? Because I get a lot of situations now where I'll get a call from 5 recruiters, but they're all pushing the same job at me.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was talking about with the LinkedIn invites. I would say recruiters have become more important in the search. And I tell you that because in the past, I used to do contract work on my own. And I have a pretty good connected network. And all I had to do was put the word out to a certain number of people. And I would have contract opportunities come my way pretty regularly. Nowadays, I can't do that because every CPA firm, every job search recruiter firm has a division that does contract placements, and they have people that do nothing but call potential customers. And so they uncover the contract roles before I have a chance to work my network most of the time. And a lot of employers shy away from bringing in individual people. They want the person to go through another organization that's responsible for any HR related type issues. So I think going through the recruiter has almost become default for jobs, especially the higher up the salary ladder you climb. At least in my area of expertise.
Right. Any other comments from anybody? Comments, suggestions? Yeah, I think the recruiting process definitely has gotten better.
Well, it used to be a choice. Now I think you have to. Yeah, my personal experience indicates that you have to have recruiters as part of your plan. Still do the networking with other areas, but here again, the recruiters, they have people that knock on doors and uncover the opportunities. And
it's got to be part of your job search.
yeah.
Needs to be part of your job search. All right. All right, what else can we answer for somebody? What else? Question somebody else has about their job search. Come on. Are we gonna be done already?
Well, I'm gonna throw a question out. As I said earlier, I'm new getting back into the job search mode, and things change so rapidly these days. And I've been out of touch. So, and I've attended these meetings on a fairly regular basis. What are 2 or 3, I'll say new, but what 2 or 3 things are happening in the job search world that I might not be aware of because I haven't been around for 6 months?
Suggestions from anybody?
Jeff, I will say that I had something new the last two nights. I had to do a case study. I got called by a company. They were interested in me, and the last 2 nights I had to work on 2 case studies. and send that back to them in order to get a phone interview. That's something totally new to me. And and they even said that this was not part of my job description, but they wanted to see how I'd respond or react to the type of case studies they gave me. And it's an operational logistics type case study.
Okay. So was it difficult?
They gave me just to give you one, they gave me, it's a upscale luxury furniture distributor, and they gave me a 35-page assembly instruction booklet, and they wanted me to find the problem that the customer was complaining about. So it took a while to go through 35 pages of assembly instructions and finally figure out the manufacturer had manufactured the door panel wrong, but it took a while. I spent about 5 hours with the 2 case scenarios. So,
Wow.
and then wrote I guess a white paper on both of them. So,
Okay.
but I've never had to do that before. I mean, it was actually quite easy, but you're trying to put your best foot forward and you spend a little bit more time on it.
Right, right. Well, good. So you figured out what the problem was, what they were having. Okay.
Right.
Interesting. Anybody else? Anything else somebody's found new in the last several months?
I don't know if it would be the last several months, but over the last up to maybe 2 years, the use of one-way interviews, I'm hearing of coming up more and more. It's still in the minority by far, but.
And when you mean one-way interviews, like they send you a link and they say, go do this, and you have to go answer those questions online. There's nobody else there. And yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, just as a reminder, Walt, Mark, and myself, we all have 3 different one-way video options that we can do. So if you've done it, or if you'd like to practice doing that, reach out to Mark McDonald, reach out to Walt Glass, reach out to me. We each have a little bit different way we do it, the way we've set up our one-way interview. And you're welcome to try that out and practice as often as you like. And for $1,000, we won't put it on YouTube. But nobody sees it but you. So, I mean, you go back, you watch it yourself, and you'll go, oh my gosh, that's really what I did. That's really what I said. That's really how it works. So, just be aware. And we're all set up a little bit different. Mark will give you the questions that are going to be asked, his questions beforehand. Walt, what do? Do you give yours out before?
I usually cover the basic. I usually cover the basic categories of questions. So there's about a dozen questions. It's really great for use after you've been through the workshop so that you've kind of been through that process. But I can also tailor it to individual needs.
Right. And mine has 6 questions, a couple of which are timed, a couple of which you have time to take as much time as you want. I think 2 of the questions you have to answer with, like 3 minutes to come up with an answer or something like that. So, all of us have different ones, and we can go create a custom one for you too. If you want something done custom in a certain field, the professional program that we had that was donated for us to use has, if you're in project management or accounting or whatever, we can just go pick customized questions out of the list that we'd want to find out if, we could have them asked. We could have it set up just for you. Reach out to one of the 3 of us. We'd be glad to offer that service. Anybody else, something else new people have seen?
So I'll step in and add an answer for my own question. And that is, I've noticed over the last 6 to 9 months that there's a lot more pressure through LinkedIn to do these exams or evaluations or skill set tests, even for professional level people. And I haven't attempted to do any of them yet. So does anybody have experience with them? What are they like? And what are your recommendations on whether or not to go that route?
It's definitely worth doing. I've heard, I do know of a couple of people who they've been interviewed, and then after the first interview, the recruiter goes and says, I need you to go complete 2 of any of the 4. Here are 4 different LinkedIn sessions that you can take or tests you can take. Just complete 2 of them. And when you're done, let me know that you've completed it. And all they're doing is they just want to see if you've done, gotten the completion on it. They don't get a score or anything. They can't see the score. So the LinkedIn tests that are there for your skills test, it's 15 to 20 questions. It's a time session, so you can't pause it and go look up the answer and then come back and answer it. You've got to answer it within a certain period of time. You have to get a 70 or above to get the get the little clipboard by the skill that's offered. If you don't pass the test the first time, you can take it 3 months later, but you have to wait 3 months to take it for the second time. And if you fail it the second time, you can't take that test again for a year. Supposedly the skill lasts for 1 year. It's been about 1.5 years since LinkedIn started it. And I don't know if they've deleted anybody's, I haven't heard of anybody's skills that they did it 1.5 years ago that have been deleted where they've had to retake it. So they may just be leaving it up now, but they've got a lot of them out there. And some statistics I've read have say that if you have taken 1 or more of those skills tests, you have a 30% better chance of getting hired through LinkedIn. So I definitely think that if there's something on there you can take, if they offer it, it can't hurt to take it. If you don't pass, nobody knows. And if you do pass, you've got a couple little check marks by your skills when recruiters are looking, because that is one of the options that recruiters can look. Have they taken any skills test? There is an option for that. Yeah. All right, what else can we answer for anybody? Questions?
So when you're interviewing, usually the person who's interviewing you gives you 5 or 10 minutes to ask questions, either about the company or other questions you might have. One thing that I want to make sure for my next opportunity that it's a good fit as far as the culture and kind of how people treat each other, or the work ethic they have, or the vision or mission, or things like that. What's the best way to, or what kind of questions could you ask to try to better understand the culture as far as not just what's on paper, but how they interact with each other and how they professionally, treat each other, or the way they interact? I mean, is there certain questions that are good to kind of understand the culture better when you have that 5 or 10 minutes to ask questions? Any thoughts on that?
Suggestions, comments from anybody?
Well, I guess I could jump in here, but I won't be able to turn off the screen display that just blocks me out. Number one, I'll send you a draft of a document that I am now working on that says, first of all, what type of culture do you desire, right? The culture you thrive in. And so what are those characteristics? Is it a leadership, collaboration, whatever it might be? And then the document says, here's kind of the purpose of that, how it is exhibited in a company, and then the questions you can ask to show when they exhibit that particular thing. And it's meant to drive not the posted culture, it's meant to drive the actual culture. So like if you have a question on leadership, then some questions you might want to ask is, how often do you have team meetings, collaboration meetings, all right, something like that. And that gives you some team leadership and some collaboration. So think about the one you're talking about. A lot of people just use the, describe your culture. And that's not a bad question. It's very open-ended. But if you're focused on the particular culture that you want to have in an organization, and just ask these 3 or 4 or 5 questions about those specifics, because you don't want to take over the interview, to give you an idea whether it's the right choice for you. Okay. I'll send you a copy. It's in draft mode.
And also, if Chris, if you email me, I have a list. We had a speaker who talked about questions you want to ask the company about. how they treat their other employees, what's it like on a bad day around here, other things. And I've got a list of those somebody's put together that I can send you. Shoot me an email. All right. Anybody else have any comments out there from anybody? I'm gonna have to start calling on people here, I think. All right.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead, Meredith.
In your research, when you're researching a company, what specifically are you researching in preparation for an interview? Are you researching the company overall, or do you gear your research toward the position you're applying for and trying to find out more about that company as it relates to the position you're seeking in the company, if that makes sense?
Is that a question or a,
Yes, it's a question. Do you gear your research, in preparation for an interview? Do you gear your research when you're researching a company more toward the position in order to answer questions related to that position you're seeking, or you just want to get familiar with the company so you can be able to just show that you know about the company?
I think yes to all the above, quite frankly. I think you've got to be prepared. You want to do, you want to do some research. I think that's really, really important. Mark, you have a comment?
I do have a comment. So when they ask you this question, what do you know about us, or something like that, this is really, what's the purpose of that question? They're gauging your motivation to come to work for that company, to do that job. And to some extent, why now, right? Because why are you considering us now? Where does it fit in your career? So yeah, you need to know about the company. You need to know about why you'd like to work there, as specific as you can be. And this is where informational interviews help also. When you talk to people inside the company, you're not just making comments on what you read, you're making comments on what you've heard and explored on your own. You also need to tell them why you're interested in the job. And that's, primarily because you're really good at what they need. They've got work that you really like to do and you've been successful at in the past. And then it'd be good if you can fit it into the arc of your career. If you're, been doing it for 10 years and you're looking for, kind of a higher level of ability to contribute, then, this is the right time to be looking at this company, this size company, for this job. Fits you.
Yeah, I mean, doing research is mandatory these days with the accessibility of information, especially company information. Now, if it's a private company, it's a little bit harder. But if they're a larger company and they have a lot of information out there and you don't go learn some of it, you're definitely at a disadvantage. The other thing I like to do is, because so much information is available, people are going to read the easy articles and pick out some big points. And I like to look for the little nugget of unusual information, because I think that shows them that you didn't just read the easy stuff. You really did your homework and dug into it a little bit more. And anytime I've ever thrown that little nugget out on the table, it almost always has gotten a positive response. So that's my suggestion. The other thing I'll say is, when you're researching companies, we have people that have been alumni of this group. Mike Ray, and Chip's not doing it anymore. He's got a Kip. Somebody else is working with Mike Ray, but there's a gentleman named Mike Ray who uses one of the research tools, which has changed names several times. I don't know what it's called right now. It used to be Reference USA. Now Walt says it's Reference Solutions. So, but before you really get active in the research side of your job search, go sit in on one of their presentations. They do them quite often. I think Mike now does a lot of his stuff out of the South Lake Focus Group. But it's a good exercise in learning how to target find specific companies that you're interested in or industries, and digging deeper, because there's a lot of information out there through this resource that almost too much information, to be honest with you. But Mike has a presentation that walks you through the steps. As a matter of fact, Walt, you used to help Mike with that, didn't you?
Yeah, I've done it a few times, but Mike's kind of taking it over, and it's available. It's recorded out there. Jeff can tell you
Yeah,
that.
we just did that a couple weeks ago. So you'll find that out on the Career USA YouTube channel. Just go to the North Dallas playlist, and was it
Data Axle is what it's called, and Pete Hernandez partners with Mike now.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it was 2 or 3 weeks ago, we had them come and do that. So it's pretty recent out there.
I think there's two aspects to your question. One is you've got a company and you want to find out about it. And the other one is you want to find a company that does the kind of thing you want to do. And so the reference solution is used, you can use it for both. But the idea is, what kind of company are you looking for? What are the parameters of that company? Is there an industry parameter? Is there a location parameter? Is there a size parameter? Is there profit, nonprofit? And Reference Solutions has all those parameters listed in their search feature. So what you can do is say, let me see what kind of company I'm targeting, and then I can go into the Reference Solutions, pick those parameters and find companies. And one of the nice features is location and how far from your home. I mean, you can draw a map and say, well, I want 10 miles within my home or something like that. And then you can find the companies that do the kinds of things you're interested in. Plus, there's a section at the bottom called competitors, and there's a whole list of a bunch of other companies that do that as well. So that's how you can use Reference Solutions.
Size is another.
Yeah, size of
way to
company.
filter.
In employees and in revenue.
Any other suggestions, comments? Meredith, did that answer your question?
Yes. And it did cover, I just wanted to kind of confirm and what I've been doing. Make sure if there was anything else I can add to what I'm doing.
Yeah, keep in mind. Sorry, Meredith. Keep in mind, if it's a public company, go look at their annual report, which is available online or through the company's website, their annual report. In that annual report, there'll be a section called Management's Discussion and Analysis. And read that. It'll tell you a lot of information that's very valuable in a job interview situation. Talks about their products, their competitors, what they're planning to do in the next couple of years, unusual situations that have happened during the year, why they did good or not so good. So it's a treasure trove of information. I know, because I used to write management's discussion analysis for companies I work for. So.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments from anybody? Anybody have another question you'd like to ask before we're 11 o'clock? We can go a little bit longer if you'd like. Anybody else? All right, so I do have a question for those who are on the Zoom right now. What's it going to take to get some of you all to come back now? I know some of you don't live here, but what's it going to take to get you all out of the house and here with us in person? Donuts. We had donuts here last week. What's it going to take to have you come show up in person? Or do you think you just won't come in person? You're going to want to just stay on Zoom? All right, Scott, yes, I know you want a plane ticket. I know, because I know you're in New Jersey. All right, good.
Yeah.
What else? How about those who live in the DFW area?
I prefer in person, actually, and may have come today, but I have a memorial service to go to this afternoon, so I won't be at the lunch either.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other comments from those living here locally?
just a chance to get out of the house and come see actual people and talk face to face and do some networking. And this is my first time back in over 6 months. And before that, it was all Zoom. But I've been a regular attender in years past. And I don't know, the being in person with a bunch of other people that are in the same boat you are and trying to help each other is a great atmosphere, I think. And I miss it. I'm a people person, so that's part of it. But I think the face-to-face thing is so much better. And I'm going to put a shameless plug in for the pit crew. Mark's already talked about it for you, I'm sure. But yeah, my personal opinion is it's the single most important thing you can do for yourself in getting ready for a job. The interview can get you a job. The other stuff can help, but the actual interview actually can get you the job. So if you aren't spending time practicing with the pit crew, you're not using a resource. It's probably the most important resource tool in this whole process. And, you know, I coach some people that have been through this group on the side, and then I would cut them off because they wouldn't go do the practice interviews, and then they would eventually go. And without exception, people will tell you, thank you for making me do that, because they saw the benefit. And it's not just doing it one time. If you don't do 3 or more, I mean, people say, yeah, they told me all the things I need to work on, but you don't know if you've implemented those unless you practice interview again. So use it over and over again. I guarantee it will have you so much better prepared for something that can get you a job. So that's my shameless plug.
Yeah. Makes a big difference. All right, any other comments anybody has? All right, well, let me, we'll do a couple closing slides here and we will get out of here. Let's see here, move this over here. If you have not put your 30-second introductions in the chat window, please do so. Name, phone, email address, position you're looking for, 2 or 3 target companies, then hit the return key. I will get all that information out to everybody this afternoon when I get home. Please, I also use this to update the roster so that if you're counting this as an event for Texas unemployment or work for any of your workforce, wherever you're located at, you know, I'll have it on the roster and have it counted if you're using it that way. Career DFW and Career USA, we're putting on training 4 days a week. Please join us. Next Tuesday, Locke Aldous will be with us to talk about how to use LinkedIn for job hunting, strategies to get results. Next Wednesday, you can watch an actual practice interview with the practice interview team. I think Mark said the person's interviewing with Amazon. Next Thursday, we'll have a presentation on networking. Oh, I don't have a name with me who's going to be presenting, but we'll have a speaker who'll be talking all about networking, being the second Thursday of the month. This session has been recorded. It will be on the Career DFW Facebook page and the Career USA YouTube channel. On the Career USA YouTube channel, as we mentioned before, every video that I upload into 2 different playlists. So be sure to click on the green arrow where it says playlist. Otherwise, you'll just see a jumbled list of over 300 videos that we've posted. But down below, pick the playlist you want, North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group. And then don't click on the video, but down below where you see the red arrow, view full playlist. When you click on that, up will come a list of all the dates and topics that we've talked about in chronological order, and you can go back and find whatever topic it is you'd like to go look at. Just remember, most of the presentations start about 30 minutes into the video. Hopefully you'll come join us today at Mama's Pizza, 2130 West Parker Road. Parker, it's a half block west of Custer on the south west corner. They have a pizza buffet, pasta, salad bar, hot cinnamon rolls are always very delicious. So come join us today at noon. And for everybody else, thank you for joining us today. For those of you in the room, thank you for being here. Nice to see people in 3D. This is only the second meeting we've done where I've had, visitors come. So we're just trying to Huh? Yeah, we tripled. We went from 1 to 3. So next week we should have 9. All right. So we're looking for 6 more people to show up next week. So everybody have a great weekend and we'll see you all next week. All right, come on, stop recording.